The real Sandy Moore says that this meeting is now called to order for the Board of Trustees public session. And welcome to everyone. It's exciting to see such a large group here. We're happy to see you. We know why you're here. So we're on to you with your promotion of promotions, tenure, and sabbaticals. But do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion as far as the agenda goes? No? Amanda, would you please call the roll?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Moore,
Approve?
Vice Chair Uvala,
Approve.
Trustee Chen,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approve.
Trustee Price Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Stanton Buttram,
Approve.
Trustee Zalpi Rodriguez.
Trustee Zalpi Rodriguez will not be attending this evening.
Thank you. Trustee Curran.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Moore, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to turn this over to Dr. Lindsay. Oh, well, first of all, let me welcome all of the people faculty members and everyone else who is here today for the faculty promotions, tenure, and sabbaticals. This is very exciting for the board as well to see all of these accomplishments. So I will turn this over to Dr. Lindsay.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask Dr. Milner to please come to the podium. We're going to introduce each group at a time. So we'll go through Dr. Milner's report. There'll be an action item. The board will take action. And then Dr. Milner will introduce the faculty who are being awarded and acknowledged this evening. So if you could start with the promotions, please.
Thank you, Dr. Let me stand over here away from the keyboard. I keep pressing things. Good afternoon. I think I'm all set now. The Board of Trustees is asked to approve the President's recommendations for the award of faculty promotions. As outlined in the college manual, the Committee on Promotion and Tenure submitted its recommendations to the Provost Vice President for Learning. That person then reviewed the evaluation procedures and all documents relevant to the promotion cases of the faculty members listed in the main motion and then forwarded the recommendations to the President. Dr. Lindsay then reviewed the recommendations and certified that the candidates for promotion listed in the main motion meet all stipulated qualifications. With approval by the Board of Trustees of the President's recommendations for promotion, the faculty members listed in the main motion will advance in rank effective August 16, 2023. The increase in salary for faculty members approved for promotion is equivalent to 2 full steps increase in salary, which including FICA, totals $54,899 for all faculty listed below in fiscal year 2024. I'd like to move back to Dr. Lindsay if there aren't any questions for the main motion.
Okay, the main motion in front of the Board of Trustees is that the Board of Trustees approve the President's recommendations for promotion of the following faculty members to the ranks as listed effective August the 16th, 2023. I think it's important to call out people's names. Would you like to? Okay, we'll do that. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and unless there's any questions, that's the main motion in front of the board this evening for.
Do I hear motion to approve and seconded? Is there any discussion concerning the people who are being brought forward for promotion? Hearing none, Amanda, would you call the roll, please?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Moore,
Approve?
Vice Chair Uvala,
Approve.
Trustee Chen,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approve.
Trustee Price Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Stanton Buttram,
Approve.
Trustee Curran.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Moore, this motion passes.
Thank you.
Dr. Milner, if you could introduce our professors that are moving forward.
Will do, happily so. I'd like to first introduce the group that has been promoted to Associate Professor. Please stand when you hear, they're gonna go get your certificate, and then you will stop to pose for a picture with Dr. Lindsay.
As a group.
The group, the entire group. just sort of stand? Thank you, Monica.
When she calls your name, if you can come up to the front, Kathy's going to give you a certificate. We'll have you go in the corner, and then we're going to pose for a photo with the president and the board chair.
Go in the corner.
Go to the corner. Brandy Angel, representing business management. Dr. Shelley DeBlasis, English. Corey Dubeck, Health, Fitness, and Exercise Studies. Zoe Friedman, Visual Arts. Sarah Prigadich, Visual Arts.
Do one big picture.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you need to do
You
the.
guys do the picture with the associate professors, or
Uh,
we're going to do
well,
them
we were going to do
all?
one big one, as I
With
understood it.
everybody?
Right.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. So stand. Keep standing. The next group has been promoted to full professor. Robert Karp, Physical Science. Dr. Jennifer Dix, English. Jody Hogan, who could not be here, but is representing world language. She is on sabbatical. Dr. Kathleen Kruger, sociology. Also interim assistant dean for us right now. Dr. Johnny Liu, English. Dr. Kelly McCants Price, psychology. She is also our interim CDO. Chief Diversity Officer. Okay. Sarah Meinsler, Human Services. Dr. Karen Phelan, education. Adil Kayumi, Homeland Security and Criminal Justice. Dawn Ryan, Cybersecurity, Networking, and Digital Forensics. Dr. Anthony Santorelli, Physical Science. Dr. Kentina Smith, psychology, also Associate Vice President. Dr. Ian Wardinsky, performing arts.
Okay. Dr. Milner, if you could move forward with the approval of faculty tenure, please.
And I'm back. The Board of Trustees is asked to approve the President's recommendations for the award of tenure. If granted by the Board of Trustees, tenure will be effective August 16th, 2023. No fiscal implications, Dr. Johnson. And I will move, if there's no questions, I will move back to Dr. Lindsay for the main motion.
The main motion in front of the board is that the Board of Trustees award tenure to the following faculty members effective August the 16th, 2023.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none? Pardon me. Please.
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Moore. Vice Chair Uvala.
Approve.
Trustee Chen.
Approved.
Trustee Johnson.
Approve.
Trustee Price Jones. Trustee Stanton Buttram. Trustee Curran.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Moore, this motion passes.
Thank you.
Dr. Milner, if you could introduce our faculty.
Will do. Ellen Asbury, nursing. Mary Bukowski, legal studies. Dr. Deborah Bartlett, biology. Dr. Jennifer Dix, English. Alice Jackson, nursing. Dr. Kathleen Kruger, sociology. Tony Liu, mathematics. Jessica Mattingly, communications. Timothy May, English. Dr. Kelly McCants Price, psychology. Sarah Meinsler, human services. Dr. Darian Sincarter, Homeland Security and Criminal Justice. Dr. Kentina Smith, psychology.
And have to go this way, away from the screen. It's also live streaming, so you can have a video later of everybody. Thank you.
You just have to tell the faculty that this board cares enough about you that they took this, a long time ago, they take this from the president's report, which is at the end of the meeting, and they move it to the very beginning of the meeting, and that is in consideration of our faculty and staff that might want to start daylight savings a little earlier or whatever. So, one last area of celebration, and that's approval of faculty sabbaticals for FY 2024.
The Board of Trustees is asked to approve sabbatical leave for each faculty member listed in the main motion. With the Board of Trustees' approval of the President's recommendations for sabbatical leave, 5 of the faculty listed and one, will take sabbatical at full salary for the fall 2023 semester, and 1 of the faculty members listed will receive paid leave at full salary for the spring 2024 semester. If the sabbatical leave is approved, adjunct faculty will be hired to provide coverage to meet the instructional needs which equates to 15 faculty load hours per faculty member per semester of leave. The total cost for one sabbatical leave would not exceed $17,084, and the 6 sabbaticals would not exceed $102,504. If there aren't any questions, I move back to Dr. Lindsay for the main motion.
And before I read the main motion, I do want to thank the board on behalf of the college and the faculty for the opportunity to support faculty sabbaticals. We're aware that not every board of trustees is as supportive of this work, and we appreciate you all understanding how important it really is for our growth and our development and our innovation and our contributions to the faculty and the students that we're serving. So I do want to publicly say thank you before I read the main motion. The main motion in front of the board is that the Board of Trustees approve the President's recommendations for sabbatical leave.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion surrounding this?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to comment that from my perspective, I have found the work product from prior sabbaticals to be so interesting and inspiring. I read each and every one of these projects, and I so look forward to the work product that comes out of them. So thank you very much.
Yes, I would agree with that. We're very much looking forward to the reports that will come back on this. The projects will only benefit the college and, of course, our students. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Connor, please.
Thank you. It's difficult approving this today just because I've had the pleasure of having Dr. Candace Hill, and I know what value she brings to the classroom. But I know that the work that you're going to work on is going to improve the student engagement post-pandemic. So sad to see you leave for a semester, but hopefully bring back so much more in the next spring semester. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. The motion has been made and seconded. We've had discussion concerning this. Amanda, would you please call the roll?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Moore,
Approve?
Vice Chair Ubala,
Approve?
Trustee Chen,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approve?
Trustee Price Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Stanton Buttram,
Approve.
Trustee Curran.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Moore, this motion passes.
Thank you.
Would you like to read the names of the faculty that are,
Gladly, thank you. Dr. Candace Hill, English. Sabbatical will be fall 2023. Dr. Heather Relihan, Gender and Sexual Studies and American Studies, fall 2023. Dr. Rochelle Tannenbaum, Psychology, fall 2023. Jennifer Schuster, Visual Arts, fall 2023. Timothy May, English, fall 2023. And Scott Cooper, World Languages, spring 2024. Thank you.
and I'll just share part of the responsibility with being granted a sabbatical as the faculty present to the board their work in the fall. So you will be hearing more about what they've been doing. I'm going to go ahead and move to the consent agenda. I would move that the consent agenda be approved as is.
Aren't we going to tell them they can go home?
Oh, you want to tell them to go? Okay.
Is that your job or hers?
That's your job.
I think it's hers. She's the boss.
Everybody wants to take your name today. You're responsible.
All right. I can't imagine why you would want to. But everyone who was promoted, offered tenure, and approval of sabbatical, dismissed. As soon as they leave, go right ahead with the consent agenda.
They'll be out celebrating in 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's nice to do good recognition of promotions.
Yeah,
It
this is
It's
great.
wonderful. I love this part.
Okay, you do still have to take your vote, however, on the public session. Consent agenda action item, right here,
Yeah, have you read it already?
yes.
Okay. Dr. Lindsay has read the main motion for the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion concerning the consent agenda items? Hearing none, Amanda, would you call the roll, please?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Moore,
Approve?
Vice Chair Uvula,
Approved.
Trustee Chen,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approved.
Trustee Price Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Stanton Buttrop,
Approve.
Trustee Curran.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Moore, this motion passes.
Thank you very much.
And with that, Chair Moore, I return the meeting back over to you.
Thank you. This is for the board chair and committee reports. I have the first report and two items. The first one is the appointment of the nominating committee for next year's officers of the board. Every year in March, the chair appoints two people to be on the nominating committee to gather names of those people who may want to serve as officers of the board in terms of chair and vice chair. This year, I've asked Trustee Nadine Chen and Trustee Joyce Price Jones if they would please fulfill that role, and they have both agreed to do so. So thank you to both of you. Moving on. Our next item is an action item. The college, and this is for the rescission of special authorization. The college entered an unprecedented period of disruption to its normal processes and procedures resulting from the COVID-19 global pandemic. Events on the local, state, and national levels were evolving so rapidly that the president was in a position of having to make rapid decisions to protect the health of the faculty, staff, and students, and the safety of the college. The time permitted to respond made it extremely difficult to get both full board input and approval. On March 26, 2020, the board voted to authorize the president or her designee to make decisions during the emergency that may have waived or contradicted established board policy. If the president or designee deemed it necessary for emergency reasons, continuity of operations, and/or safety of the faculty, staff, and students that impacted the college's normal operations. As the federal government announced its intention to end the national emergency and public health emergency declarations related to the COVID-19 pandemic in May 2023, the state of emergency expired in the state of Maryland and Anne Arundel County, expired in the state of Maryland and Anne Arundel County. We continue to have a low community spread according to the Centers for Disease Control. The board recommends rescinding the special authorization.
You want me to read the main motion?
Please read the main motion.
The main motion in front of the board is that the Board of Trustees rescind the special authorization for the president to act on matters impacting the safety of the college and to maintain continuity of operation during the coronavirus global pandemic.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And seconded. Any discussion surrounding this? Hearing none, Amanda, would you please call the roll?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Moore,
Approve?
Vice Chair Uvula,
Approved.
Trustee Chen,
Approve.
Trustee Johnson,
Approved.
Trustee Price Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Stanton Buttrop, Trustee Curran.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Moore, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. And as far as the appointment of the nominating committee, this is for the board. I neglected to say this. If you have a desire to be nominated for one of the officer positions, please let either Trustee Price Jones or Trustee Chen know. Thank you. The next is the Board Policy Oversight Committee, and we do have a report from that. On August 22nd, 2021, the Board of Trustees reauthorized the president to make decisions during the COVID-19 crisis for the continuity of operations and/or the safety of faculty, staff, and students which impact the college's normal operations, which was to remain in effect until rescinded by the board. The Board Policy Oversight Committee approved the policy action request for an interim policy on January 12, 2022. The President adopted the interim policy regarding COVID-19, which was effective March 24, 2022. Per the Board's policy on the development of policies and procedures, an interim policy will remain in force until adopted with or without revisions through the review and approval process for up to 12 months from the date of issuance, whichever occurs first. The interim policy regarding COVID-19 will expire on March 24th, 2023. As discussed last month, we are bringing forward the COVID-19 policy as an action item tonight. The college community provided feedback and some clarifying changes that were made since the information item was originally submitted to the board. Those changes were highlighted in the version that is posted in Diligent. This policy establishes the college rules regarding COVID-19, including the requirement to report COVID cases to the college, the requirement that students and employees participating in clinicals, internships, and externships in certain programs be vaccinated against COVID-19. The ability of the college to require wearing face mask coverings on campus, and a discussion of health and safety measures for the use of respirators. Since the interim policy was adopted, this policy has been updated to exclude the massage therapy program from this vaccine mandate because the clinic sites for this program generally do not require vaccination to participate, since these sites are not subject to the vaccine mandate issued by the federal government as it applies to Medicare and Medicaid certified providers and suppliers. The other substantive change is that the college will no longer require someone who is subject to the vaccine mandate who receives an accommodation to not get vaccinated for religious or disability reasons to submit to weekly testing, because the CDC no longer recommends screening testing for unvaccinated individuals, as well as other administrative and logistical reasons for discontinuing these protocols. Legal counsel, Anne Arundel Community College staff, and the college's constituency groups have reviewed this new policy and provided feedback, which has been incorporated into the final draft. If the board approves the policy, it will become effective on the date it is posted on the college's website after this approval of the board. Would you read the main motion?
The main motion in front of the board is that the Board of Trustees approve the new COVID-19 policy as shown in Exhibit 1.
Do I hear a motion to approve? So moved. A second? Second. Any discussion regarding this policy? Hearing none, Amanda, would you please call the roll?
Trustees, when I call your name, please state your vote. Chair Moore,
Approve?
Vice Chair Ubala,
Approve.
Trustee Chen,
Approve?
Trustee Johnson,
Approve.
Trustee Price-Jones,
Approve.
Trustee Stanton Buttram,
Approve.
Trustee Curran.
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Moore, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. I'd like to now call on the Board Development Committee. Trustee Price-Jones will give the report.
Good afternoon. The Board Development Committee met on March 2nd to discuss the communications training, confirm the annual retreat, and discuss the annual board assessment. According to the board's goals for this year, trustees are to participate in a communications training. The communications training will be held on Tuesday, May 9th, immediately after the public session. Dan Baum, Executive Director, Strategic Communications, will facilitate the 60 to 90-minute training, and dinner will be provided. The committee confirmed that the date for the board's retreat, Tuesday, August 15th, 5 to 6:30 p.m., and dinner again will be provided. Board members will receive the DISC survey prior to the date to complete, and the results will be discussed at the retreat. The committee is finalizing the annual board assessment. The assessment will be available to board members on May 2nd and a due date of May 15th. The results will be reported at the June 13th board meeting. Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Price-Jones. Trustee Uvala has the next report from the Anne Arundel Community College Foundation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a special announcement tonight. On March 7th, the AACC Foundation received a very generous gift of $685,000 from the estate of Donald Wood of Severna Park. Mr. Wood passed on December 31st, and this gift was directed to support the Lynn Wood Memorial Scholarship at AACC. Lynn Wood, Mr. Wood's first wife, was a faculty member at AACC who established our paralegal program. She was a resourceful advocate for this initiative, and even reaching out to law firms in the region to ensure AACC's program had the library and resources needed to educate students for this profession. Lynn Wood passed in 1996, and a few years later, Don established the Lynn Wood Memorial Scholarship at AACC. Lynn Wood's legacy continues at AACC through the many students who have prepared for paralegal studies and careers, and through this memorial scholarship. We are grateful for that 23 years ago, Mr. Wood chose a scholarship to honor Lynn, and that is part of his estate. He included a generous gift to greatly expand the support offered to AACC students through the Lynn Wood Memorial Scholarship. Prior to this estate gift, the Lynn Wood Memorial Scholarship was yielding approximately $1,300 annually to students. Once this new gift is fully invested, the Lynn Wood Memorial Scholarship will eventually yield approximately $22,000 annually to students. On behalf of the college community, we express our gratitude for Mr. Wood's generosity. Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Uvala. At this point, I'll turn the meeting back over to Dr. Lindsay for the President's report.
Thank you, Chair Moore. It's been a very busy 2 weeks since our last board meeting. On March the 1st, I was pleased to attend the Greater Annapolis Design District Member Luncheon and thank them for establishing a scholarship at AACC to support students in the skilled trades and the design and build industry. On March the 3rd, I joined former Governor Larry Hogan, former Senator Ed Riley, County Councilman Pete Smith, and others at Maryland Live to meet a delegation from North Carolina to discuss the gaming industry, its partnerships, and its economic development. On March 9th, Dr. Tanya Milner and I attended the joint Fort Meade Alliance and FMA Foundation Board of Directors annual dinner. This is a wonderful way for the boards to really support each other, as the mission of both of those organizations is really, really important. And I'm also pleased to say that my term has ended with Fort Meade Alliance, but Dr. Milner's tenure looks like it's going to be beginning on July the 1st. Congratulations, Tanya. It's a lot of...
It's great pay.
But do they get food?
No, yeah, we get fed.
Okay, good.
Okay. So AACC is celebrating Women's History Month, a time to acknowledge, celebrate, and study the vital role of women in American history. The events reflect the diversity of women's experiences and accomplishments. I want to thank the co-coordinators of Women's History Month, Sophia Reverdi and Shelley DeBlias, and all the faculty, staff, and student planning and participating for this month's events. And of course, we are coming to the close of our Middle States Accreditation team visit. It started with a beautiful welcome reception on Sunday featuring our students, from the artwork, the jazz ensemble, and to amazing desserts prepared by our very own culinary students. The Middle States evaluation team has been meeting with various groups at the college, including the board, faculty, staff, and students. We are looking forward to the exit review tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're going to be joining together to hear the video response of the chair, Dr. Schrader. And speaking of Dr. Schrader, Greg, are you here? Can you please stand up? I want to say a huge shout out to Dr. Greg Schrader, the steering committee chair. The steering committee and the communications and logistics teams who have been planning for this site visit for months and years. It has been an amazingly positive experience under his leadership, and we have truly enjoyed showing off the amazing work of our faculty and staff. Thank you, Greg. Next Next up is Dr. Felicia Patterson, our Vice President for Learner Support Services, with our enrollment update.
Thank you, Dr. Lindsay, and good evening. We are looking at the winter and spring enrollment for 2023. Looking at the winter credit head counts, this winter the head count of 1393 is an increase of 197 students from winter 2022, where when we were at 1,196. That's head count. And yes, oh sure. Are we not supposed to move the mic?
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, we were told don't touch the mic, so got mixed instructions here. Is that, are we better? Okay, okay, I'll try to, I'm a little challenged here. Okay. Okay, so winter total credit FTE. The winter FTE of 163 represents an increase of 22 FTE or 15.6% from winter 2022. When we're looking at spring total credit head count, we see an increase of 4.92%. The spring head count of 9,683 represents an increase of 454 students. And then that FTE is 2,453. That's an increase of 4.25% or 100 students over spring 2022. On this next slide, we're looking at the trend of new and returning students. We do this, as you recall, over the past decade to see kind of where we are. In spring 2023, there are 8,691 returning students. That's on the blue bar. And those are students who have attended AACC at some point prior to spring 2023. Compared to 2022, that's an increase of 4.22% or 352 students. And then when you look at the orange bar, you see that we have 992 new students at AACC this spring. That increase in the number of students is 11.46%, and that is 102 students. Looking at the student body by age, you'll see students under the age of 18, that's on the green line, that's 11.6%. 18 to 19-year-olds are on the blue line at 25.9%. And then students 20 to 24, that's on the orange line at 29%. And then 25 plus is at 33.6%, shown by the yellow line. You see that slight decline there on the yellow line for 25 plus. We do break that down further in our data. So we know that that decline really is coming from 25 to 29-year-olds and 30 to 39-year-olds. So that's really where we have some opportunity to do some work there. In spring, the credit head count is 76.9% of students attended part-time. That's seen on the orange line. And then on the blue line, 23.1% of students attended full-time. And this graph, you see a bar chart, I guess. You see that gender has remained relatively consistent over time. 39.5% of our students are male, and then that's on the blue bar. 60.5% of our students are female on the orange. Then looking at the breakdown of enrollment of students by race and ethnicity. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. I have a page missing, but it's okay. So spring credit minority student percentage. So you'll see on the blue line, 3,675 students are identifying as minority, and that's 42.3%. There's a lot going on here, so don't try to look at this slide exactly, but want to present it to you. This is the breakdown of enrollment of students by race and ethnicity. White students are at 51.8% on the purple. Black African American are at 16.6% on the gold. Unknown is 16.4%, that's on the blue. Hispanic Latino are 10.6% on the green, and Asian at 4.5% on the orange.
This next slide looks at how students are taking courses. So you see on this slide, 7,354 students, or 75.9%, are taking at least one course through distance learning, so that's online or hybrid. And then we'll show you kind of how that breaks down. So 5,757 students took at least one online course, or 59.5% of credit students, compared to 6,710 last spring. So you'll see that students are, still balancing more in person and hybrid. You'll see on this next slide, for hybrid courses, 1,581 students took at least one hybrid course, and that represents 16.3% of our students. This next slide shows high school students dually enrolled at AACC. You'll note the increase in spring of 351 dually enrolled students, from 1,201 to 1,552. And you'll see on the orange, that represents our ECAP students, so it goes to 1,045 this spring, and the 507 are other dually enrolled students at 507. Our retention rate is 74%. That's first-time degree or certificate-seeking students in the fall returning in the spring. There is some good news here. The 74% is actually 0.5% higher than last year. It's just there's some rounding in there. So fall to spring retention rate was rounding to 74% last year, but we're actually up 0.5%. And then lastly, this shows our credit FTE to goal. So if you look at the total actual FTE so far, we received 5,775 FTE as of March 6th. So again, that includes summer 22, term 2 and 3, fall 2022, winter 2023, and spring 2023 as of March 6th. We are projecting that we'll have another 360 FTE in summer term 1, which gets us to a total of 6,135 as our projected total FTE. So you can see, we're happy to report, hopefully we'll be finalizing, that little gold is over the red line just a tad bit. So that we will take as good news. And that is it. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair? A couple of questions, and it doesn't mean that you have an answer. The question that I asked, are there any strategy changes we need to do to help us to get to some of the targets we have? We count FTE, we count head counts, but a head count could be one person. And of course, it has some impact on our FTE. So the question is, any changes we should be making or looking at to help us to get to our FTE goals?
Well, yes, I'm certain there are probably many changes that we have an opportunity to make. And you'll recall that Dr. Milner and I facilitate the Enrollment Retention Completion Council, which is comprised of a number of teams throughout the college. We've met with that group recently. They are very much on track. We're very excited that they continue to bring to the table opportunities for us to impact enrollment, whether it be something very specific or something broad. That team has identified a number of issues. Our thinking is, as we move forward for the next year, that we'll continue to use a similar process where we look for PREA to identify some data points where there's opportunity for us to impact enrollment. But those teams have been just amazing at looking at where we have some barriers that we can lift to continue to work on those strategies that you're speaking of. It seems to be, so far, it's been very successful for us.
And another question, well, just a question. How many head counts does it take to make one FTE? You may not know that because you may not have calculated, but I'm just wondering, when you want to do the back of the envelope type of computation, you may need 5 head counts to get one FTE, and that may change from year to year, but do we have any tool like that for just getting a sense of how many heads we need to count to get one FTE?
Well, one FTE is 30 units.
Yeah.
When you go
So,
by, okay.
Right.
so one,
okay.
if you think a class is, 3 units, for example, of one FTE would be that one class of 3 units being multiplied by 10 to get to 30.
Okay, well, I understand, okay. Okay. I understand, I got you.
You're an engineer.
No, the fact is, we have a lot of numbers that talk about head counts.
So,
And the question is, how many of those head counts, on average, would equal one FTE? And you may not know, because maybe it's not.
We have it, but I don't have it in front of me, but we can get it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that-
Is it 4?
8.1
8 point, yeah.
FTE per head average.
averaging a
okay,
3-unit
that's
class,
what-
right?
Okay,
We do track that number,
8.1, that,
yeah, and we try to figure out strategies through the RCC
Okay.
on how to make that additional class attractive to the student. So they go from 6 credits to 9 credits, or 3 credits to 6 credits. And some of that might be college algebra followed by freshman composition, because they're 2 entry-level classes.
yeah,
And we have more part-time students than we do full-time students.
understood.
So that impacts us. We've got to get those part-time students. We're trying to get them to take more.
Yeah.
That's hard. I don't know if I can repeat all that for the recording, but.
I heard, we heard it. 8.1. But anyway, go ahead. It was just a thought, for doing quick calculations, that's what I was looking for. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
and,
very
and
much.
let me just add to that, one of our, we are seeing that, full-time students are, incrementally just increasing just a little bit. I think where we, there's always sort of that balance to make sure that students are taking the appropriate number of courses that they can be successful in. So I think that's where we're always just try to make sure that we're being thoughtful.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Certainly. A couple of questions. Can we talk briefly about the retention slide? So it's been very historically constant. Does that inform us that enrollment is important, retention perhaps not so important, since it's been very constant?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think there's just, for us, when we break down retention, what we're trying to make sure is that that we have equity across retention. So we know when we break down, disaggregate the numbers, that's where we can see where we have opportunity. So even though it's sort of looking kind of even, we know that we still have work to do, which is, when we have created those ERCC teams, in part that's looking at the data to see, okay, we still have some opportunity with like African-American students to ensure that we're bringing up those retention rates so they're similar across the board.
Got it. And the hybrid learning, the trend that you're seeing is heading back down towards, I guess, 2017 levels, I think it was. Are you thinking that hybrid learning will at some stage get back down to pre-pandemic?
I might need to phone a friend on that one. Would you like to come to the mic?
Well, what we're seeing, or at least what we're hoping we're seeing, is that we've been offering enough flexibility, we've been offering enough opportunities for students to find where they're successful. The hope comes from our side is that they are actually successful in what they're demanding. We don't want to be offering modalities, one, because we love them, or because the students say, oh, I need this, but then they're actually not successful in it.
Right.
So we're trying to match what the demand is, but also work with PRIA to make sure the success rates are there too.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, I'm going. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any other questions? Trustee Curran?
I have a quick question. This might be for Dr. Milner, but so when looking at the course evaluations at the end of a course, there's a question on there that asks, how does the modality fit the content? Is that looked at when we were looking at what courses to offer in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, we certainly do look at student opinion forms, and we, our supervisors of faculty have conversations about them with those faculty members.
Fantastic, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patterson. Up next, Suzanne Boyer, our Executive Director for Human Resources. This is specifically a report that was requested by the board, so Suzanne's been doing this for a little while now.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. You did receive a copy of this presentation and the full workforce report with your board materials. So this report is an in-depth look at our employee data, comparing 2021 workforce data against previous years, and some comparisons with other institutions. Most of the report is data that shows a snapshot in time, which would be October 31st of each year. And the full report captures compensation metrics, workforce characteristics, and activity, as well as training and education. The purpose of the report is to gather valuable information about where the college stands in regards to compensating, diversifying, and retaining our employees. So each year, as Dr. Lindsay mentioned, we do share this with you, and just wanted to give a special thanks to the HR team and also the team in planning, research, and institutional assessment for the information that's contained. So the report in summary shows that our total workforce has increased 2.2% between 2020 and 2021. We continue to increase the applicants for open positions in Anne Arundel Community College that identify themselves as a race other than white. The next slides that follow will go into some more detail. So the chart showing our total workforce by classification represents people, not positions. The data reflects employees on October 31st of each year, and for the purposes of this report, temporary employees are not included. You may notice a reduction in faculty from 2019 to 2021. While there were 249 faculty in 2019, there were 234 in 2021. For the upcoming 23-24 academic year, we have received 4 announced upcoming retirements, but we are recruiting 18 new members of our faculty, and we expect offers to start to be extended in the next 30 to 45 days. From 2017 to 2021, the diversity of the workforce has increased 23% to 26%. This increase speaks to the college's continuing efforts to hire a more diverse workforce. In comparison to Anne Arundel County demographics, AACC is quite similar. White residents of the county represent 73.6% of the county population. Another important data point is the age of our workforce. AACC has a higher percentage of baby boomers than the national average, and our employees closely resemble the national average for Generation X individuals at 39%, compared to the 33% nationally. The college has 25% Generation Y employees, while the national average is 35%. And new to this year's report is the Generation Z employee. AACC is proud to have 22 of those individuals who were born between 1995 and 2021. Kind of crazy, right? The importance of this chart is that our workforce is older than the national average. This impacts us in many ways, including a need for succession planning. As the traditionalists and baby boomers retire, we're likely to continue to hire more Generation Y and Z employees who value different things in the workplace. In a recent Gallup poll, the #1 thing a Generation Y and Z employee want in their employer is someone who cares about their well-being. The baby boomers' #1 thing desired is ethical leadership. That was #2 for the other group. Kind of interesting information. We did see a rise in total applicants in the calendar year 2021 for faculty, staff, temporary and adjunct positions. Just over 3,000 applications received. 23% of those applicants did not disclose their race in the application process, and that's pretty typical of what most employers would see. The remaining 33% described themselves as a race other than white. There are a few other areas I want to highlight from the workforce report. 57 faculty and staff were promoted, awarded a career ladder promotion, or a professional recognition award. All of these actions result in a compensation increase for the employee. Just like we just talked about with the number of employees that we have that are older, just under half of our employees are eligible to retire. This closely correlates to what we just discussed. Retirement eligible means that the employee has a minimum of 10 years of service at the college and meets the requirements either under Maryland State Retirement or the optional retirement program. Finally, as we're preparing our next report that'll capture 2018 to 2022, we do have some preliminary data to share with you. We hired 29 new employees in 2022 who identify themselves as a race something other than white. They represent 53% of our new hires. As most of the nation is experiencing, we are seeing a decline in overall applicants for our positions. In 2022, we received 500 less applications than we received in 2021. We did see a 4% increase in applicants who identified themselves as a race other than white. This information will require us to look at recruiting ways that are more innovative and creative. You may have heard of the Great Resignation. This national phenomenon began in 2021 when employees were voluntarily resigning their positions. COVID stimulus packages and increases in unemployment benefits allowed employees to quit their jobs and still get paid. But you also may have heard about the new phenomenon, which is called the Great Regret, that people are now regretting this decision. So we might see an increase. So we look forward to sharing more data once our report is finalized. So in closing, this report, I just want to say that we continue to offer competitive salaries and retain employees while encouraging continued education and creating paths for promotion for our employees. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Trustee Curran?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two questions. First, about the workforce age. Does that count work study students or just full-time faculty or full and part-time faculty and staff?
So the age piece, I think, did include all employees.
Okay. And my second question is about the 43% staff and faculty that are retirement eligible. Is there a plan if they all decide, it's unlikely, but is there some sort of plan or thought in place if we see a lot of them retire at one time? That's a large part of our workforce, so I'm just curious.
Yeah. So the college does spend a lot of time looking at succession planning, and it's something that we'll have to continue to do. We have opportunities for training and advancement, so we get people trained up in leadership so you can take the next step. You can apply for positions internally, and we certainly are encouraging professional development so that you are able to take the next step. But you're right, it can be a pretty shocking number. And I truly hope all my colleagues don't walk out
I don't want to give anybody any ideas, but
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's glue on everybody's chair.
Yeah. That just means that they are eligible. It does not mean that they are going to. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Suzanne. That was great. Thank you. Dr. Gregory Schrader, Chair, Steering Committee. Are you sure there's no report?
And everyone here at the college. It's just amazing, amazing people to work with. Thank you.
One one of Dr. Schrader's suggestions when we were talking about this is he said he really believes that reading and being involved in the report should be a requirement of every new employee coming into this college. The pride, that what we're doing, how we're interacting, our successes. So I think that is something that we'll be talking about as far as helping people understand why they should read that
Yeah.
accreditation report, because it gives us a really good overview. Thank you, Greg. Sure.
Going off agenda for a little bit, I hope we don't have to vote on this one. I also, in recognizing Dr. Schrader and all the important work he and his colleagues have done on the steering committee, I also want to recognize Trustee Johnson, who has been an integral part of this for a couple of years now. I asked Dr. Johnson to be in this group because of his many qualifications in education and in higher education, and he has done a remarkable job. And so thank you, Dr. Johnson. We really appreciate what you've done.
I did talk to the other Dr. Schrader about your commitment and your time and effort, and she was very impressed that you were attending meetings, so. Thank you. Dr. Hill, Chair of the Academic Forum / Council, no report? No report.
Just thank you for approving my sabbatical.
And our administrative staff organization, Jill Bennett, President, no report. Professional and support staff organization, John Denton, President, no report. Student Government Association, Abigail Bilovitz Hayes, President, no report. Is there somebody that you were going to introduce, or somebody that you're?
Oh, wait, I would shake my head no. I'm sorry, I'm good. I don't have a report.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Nicole Williams, President of the Faculty Organization, no report. Okay, the Maryland Association of Community College Activities. The MAC Legislative Committee continues to meet on a weekly basis to review bills that impact Maryland community colleges. We are now 2/3 of our way through the session. The meetings will be shifting focus to provide updates and amendments rather than bill introduction at this point in time. MAC's position on bills and legislation are available on its Legislative Action Center website, which provides up-to-the-minute information on legislative activity affecting Maryland's community college. So if you're interested in any of the initiatives that are coming forward, you'll find that all on the MAC website. And that, Madam Chair, concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Dr. Lindsay? Hearing none. Any new business from the board? Nope, hearing none. Our next meeting will be on April 11th, 2023. This meeting stands adjourned.